On September 16th, me and my mother flew to Rome to have our dream vacation. We've been talking about this for years, and we finally went. On our first evening, we mainly strolled around because we arrived quite late, but we found so many cool things already. We went past this castle, we found this bar, we found this amazing building that turned out to be the Palace of Justice. And then we ended up at Alfredo alla Scrofa, which is the birthplace of Fettuccine Alfredo. The food was great, although very cheesy. It was an amazing first meal in Rome. We continued with our stroll and found Piazza Navona, which actually became our favorite spot during this trip and was a square that we returned to many, many times. Just kept on walking, being amazed by this wonderful, wonderful city. Our second day was our first full day of touring. I had booked us 2 tours in the Vatican. The first tour was of the Vatican Museum and the Sistine Chapel. You're not allowed to take any photos or really speak when you're inside the Sistine Chapel, but our guide made sure to give us all the history of the paintings before we entered. There's so much to see in the Vatican Museum, and there's so many people. St. Peter's Square and the St. Peter's Basilica are beyond this world, to be honest. Just being in the Vatican and hearing all of its history and just being inside of the Basilica, it's beautiful in there. And it's also so huge, so marvelous. You can't really grasp it. Being a fan of views, I made sure to book a tour that led us up to the top of the dome with this most incredible view of Rome. The basilica itself is free to enter and should definitely be on your agenda. The next day, we started out with a long stroll where we walked past the Trevi fountain and I threw in some coins. I didn't notice then, but I looked it up just now. If you throw 1 coin into the fountain, you will return to Rome. If you throw 2 coins into the fountain, you will meet an attractive Italian. Fingers crossed for that one. We continued to walk because our main aim was our tour at the Colosseum and Roman Forum. We walked past this huge monument, which is in honor of Victor Emmanuel, the king who unified Italy. And this is what's so incredible with Rome. No matter where you're going, you will see the most incredible monuments and sites that you had no clue existed. The Roman Forum is like stepping into another world. And it's a chance for you to imagine how things were 2,000 years ago. Seeing Colosseum was a literal dream come true. This experience was just beyond everything else. I would definitely recommend to book guided tours for the Vatican and also for Colosseum. There's so much to learn, and you can always come back to these places if you feel like the tours are a bit too quick. Honestly, I think that throughout 90% of this trip, I just had the biggest grin on my face. From the moment I stepped off the airplane until the moment I went back home. During the evening of the same day, we strolled around the area close to Piazza Navona and stumbled upon a couple of bookshops. This one was actually very well curated, had a bunch of books in English and also manga and graphic novels, and this very stunning collection of classic cloth-bound penguin books. And if you're looking for a bookstore in Rome with English books, this is the place to go. Right on the opposite side of it is another bookshop. This one did not have any books in English, but it was still very fun to look around it. We closed that evening by going to the Biblio bar, having a drink, and then chilling at our hotel after a long day of walking. The next day we decided to go to the Villa Borghese Gardens, and we ended up on this beautiful terrace with this amazing view. I don't think we really found the garden, but instead we stumbled upon this temple instead. And just the area overall is just this very beautiful and calm park. We then walked to the Spanish Steps and of course walked both up and down them. This is another site that you don't really understand how huge it is until you actually see it. And once again, people everywhere. But it's kind of the charm of it. I personally like seeing when a city is so alive. Lunch was spent at this very fancy restaurant that is a part of a hotel that I had found via TikTok. It's probably the most expensive place we ate at during our stay, but it was a beautiful restaurant. The Prosecco was incredible, and we had an amazing time there with great service. We then walked to the Pantheon and finally entered. It was a huge line, but don't worry about it because it's actually a very quick line. So queuing was not a problem. For dinner, we went to this other TikTok place. To be honest, I would say that this is quite overhyped. The food was great, wasn't too expensive, but the staff was quite stressed, and overall, just an overhyped restaurant. Nothing that really stood out compared to other places. The next day, we walked through the Trastevere area. In that area though, we found this bookshop, almost corner bookshop, and that one also had quite a few books in English. But we then went back to Colosseum. That was my one request for the day. And to be able to take it in more at our own speed was amazing. We took the photos we couldn't take before. We walked around it to get every angle. I was so happy that we went back. We also went back to the Trevi fountain, and it's crowded after lunch. We then also got tickets to enter the castle that we found during our first stroll in Rome. The castle itself houses so many incredible rooms and also has amazing views of Rome. And once again, this was a site that we had never even heard of before going to Rome. We hung out at the top of the castle for quite a while, watching the sunset and just reminiscing about our time in Rome. Our final day before going home, we decided to go and visit the Pope. No, but for real, we actually went back to the Vatican and saw the Pope. Even though these screens are flickering a lot, hopefully you can hint that he was there. It was a great way to end our travel. Rome was incredible. I'm so grateful I got the opportunity to go there with my absolute favorite person and experience the things we experienced. Everything from the sights, to the food, to the people, to the weather. I honestly can't wait to go back.